Hello there. My name is Mo with my co-host Corey. We are the Real Guys, and this is the Real Show with two ears. Today, you better jump in your Republic attack shuttle and fly off to some paths unknown because we're reviewing season 3 of The Bad Batch, the first 3 episode, the 3 episode premiere, as we often like to do, Corey.
We do indeed.
As always, I'm calling my co-host Corey. How are you today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent. It's nice to see you, Corey. We haven't had a chat for a couple of weeks.
Few weeks.
But now we're back. And yeah, a few weeks. Well, you've been off on your holidays, Corey.
I have.
And I don't have a tracker on you, not that you know of, to know where you are at all times.
Exactly. There's no Find My Phone or anything
It's
like
like exactly. You're like Omega, Corey. Effectively,
Yes.
You're like Omega. Can you give me your best Omega impression?
that. Oh, I can't remember what she says.
Omega. You can go. I'm Omega.
What
Rika.
in that perfect voice?
Tick. Where's Tick?
In all fairness,
Where's Tick?
she has got
He
like
has a very strong New Zealand accent,
Yeah.
but it's fine. Christopher Morrison is from New Zealand, so that makes sense.
It does make sense. Fairness makes perfect sense.
He doesn't. He's a direct clone of Jango Fett, so.
Exactly. For all the clones to have like a New Zealand accent.
All
yeah,
the clones
fine,
have New
go
Zealand
for it.
accent, so that way it makes sense.
But it's
And
perfect sense.
we are reviewing the 3 episode premiere. That is the episodes Confined, Paths Unknown,
Yep.
and Shadows of Tantis, which is the 3 episode
Yep.
premiere. Now, you've seen the second season.
I have.
You've seen the first season.
Yes, because we
Does
reviewed.
this yes, we've reviewed both of them for people who are interested. And as we always like to do, we always end up explaining here. It's a
Yes.
fairly novel concept, Corey. How would our television reviews normally go?
I know, right? So, take for example, Bad Batch, and they come out Disney Plus normally, unless you're like Echo for whatever reason, releases.
Yeah, weird that.
Release shows like weekly, or this one's got 3 when it first came out. I think Obi-Wan had like 2 normally, just one a week.
They do a premiere where they put out a couple of
Yeah.
episodes.
So we go, let's review the episodes that come out,
Yes.
and then never review it again until it finishes.
Yes, yeah. Never talk about it again. Never talk about it again until it finishes.
Yep.
Then we'll review it all when it finishes.
Yes.
Which I think is a pretty solid tactic.
Well, it is, because you get a good start,
Yeah.
and then
Initial impressions, Corey, are
exactly,
important
it's very
nowadays.
important.
People have react videos. People have like instant impressions. What are my thoughts on blank? So we want to do that. We want to get that market. So that's what we're going to do, Corey. We're going to review the initial few episodes, and then we're going to give it a rating. And then we're going to give you a cheeky weekly rec. Then we're going to wait till the season finishes and then
Correct.
wrap it all up with a nice little bow on it, woven like a quilt.
Yes.
Beautiful, woven like a freaky experiment in Mount Tantis, by the Imperial Science Bureau. It's all about that, Corey. All about that life. Exactly. I'm basically Dr. Hemlock, effectively, I've realised. If you're Omega, what does that make me?
Yeah.
I'm basically Dr. Hemlock, aren't I? I might as well be. But we're back with Omega. Last time we saw Omega, she was, taken by the Imperials and to Mount Tantis, which is the Emperor's secret research facility on Wayland. And she's there. She's living her life. It's not a great life.
It's not ideal.
No, not ideal. No, she's with Emery Carr. That's her name. Didn't realize that's what her name was. Emery Carr. And what's so special about Dr. Emery Carr?
Which one's Emery Carr? The one that
The one with the goggles, the female.
the one that walks in every single day.
Every single day, yeah, that's her. That's her.
And is like, yes,
What's so special about her?
we need to get going. And she's like, you can't have these. Not allowed them.
No.
Even though she gets it back in the second episode anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
That little doll thing. And she's taking blood tests of everyone.
She had taken blood tests on Omega. Well, the special thing, Corey, if you remember from the last season, is that Emery Carr is also a clone.
Yes.
She's also a female Jango Fett clone, a secondary female Jango Fett clone. And I kind of wish they'd played more on that. That is a kind of slight criticism I have, the fact that we don't kind of go any over that. Emery just kind of, they drop it at the end of season 2, like, oh, I'm a clone too, Omega. And Omega's like, what? And we never really go into, hold on, well, how were you created? Are you genetically modified like the rest of the other clones? The regs, as the batch call them, the regular clones? Do you have alternate, like, growth acceleration? That's what they call it. Do you have growth acceleration where you grow faster? Were you, like, created before the Grand Army of the Republic? As, like, a test something? Or, I don't know, well, you've got an actual name. You've got a last name. You have parents that, they don't go into that. Maybe they will later, but
possibly
we don't get that initially in the premiere. And she is within the service of Dr. Royce Hemlock. who is the head of operations at Mount Tantis. He's in control of the Imperial Science Bureau, and he's got great aspirations to test all this clone blood.
Yes.
For something he calls Project Necromancer, which we have heard of before.
Correct.
It was in the third season of The Mandalorian, where we saw that Project Necromancer was being made by Moff Gideon and Brendel Hux, and their plan was to effectively create clones of the one, the only Emperor Palpatine.
Yes, which, always good.
Always good, yeah, always good.
Gotta get more Palpatine.
The first episode is completely Omega's POV.
Yep.
Where we see operations inside Mount Tantis. We follow Emery and Omega going on their daily tasks and whatnot. So he has to take blood from Omega.
Correct.
He goes to Nala Se, who is a Kaminoan, and Nala Se continues to discard every single sample.
Yes, every single one.
The moment they find it, it will connect with the M count. They're looking for a midi-chlorian, M for midi-chlorians. Yep. What do midi-chlorians do, Corey?
Is it midi-chlorians that as a whole, like, oh, you're a Jedi because you've got so many of them?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, okay, good.
I love your Star Wars knowledge, but I always enjoy us talking about Star Wars with you, Corey, because there's like a weird paradox that happens where you know more than the average person, but less than like what a fan would consider, the knowledge, to call it that. To know what things are. Like, hey, Corey, what's midi-chlorians? And you'll go, it's the thing that you need to have that many of them to know that you're a Jedi. You're like, yes, well done, Corey. It's the scientific basis of the Force.
Yes.
People say you have to have a higher number of midi-chlorians to have the amount of Force in your blood or whatever. So they're testing for her midi-chlorian count to make sure that it's compatible with Palpatine's blood, which they're putting into the wheel, as you noticed. The
little spinny thing.
The spinny thing, the sample wheel or whatever. But they're testing different clones to see who it can work with. And she's also Omega. She's interacting with a lurker hound, which is an animal from Wayland, and it's her favourite, the one called Batcher. She's named, called Batcher, and she heals up Batcher's wound. Batcher's all friendly. It's like a good loyal dog,
Yeah, a little dog
loyal
thing.
pet for her. Yeah, but Hemlock he's got serious machinations, Corey, serious devious machinations to create a clone of the Emperor, and he's going to stop at nothing. He's going to stop, trying to force Nala Se to work by using Omega as a hostage, I suppose.
Yeah. There's a part involved where she's like, oh, you're here, the only reason why you're here is so I will cooperate. And then in the same episode, when after she frees the little dog thing and she destroys that robot by crushing it, essentially.
Yeah. She doesn't have an escape attempt.
He's like, well, I'm not going to hurt you, no. No, I need you. I'm going to hurt Crosshair instead.
Yes, exactly. Because Crosshair is there with her. Crosshair has also been captured by the Empire and kept in Tantis as a specimen to be experimented on. And Omega wants to free Crosshair as well, because he's part of the Bad Batch. He's got to free her as well. But she also wants to free all the clones. But she's going to start with Crosshair, I suppose. She's going to start with Crosshair to help him out, get him free from the Imperial facility. And Hemlock isn't alone. He's got Emery. You've got Nala Se there. He's also got a name you might recognise from the Republic Commando series of games and novels. Scorch is also present. If you remember Scorch, you know who Scorch is?
Is he like a bounty hunter or something? Is that someone else?
No. Scorch is an Imperial or formerly Republic Commando.
Right.
Who wears quite unique armour, orange and you'll know he was next to Hemlock all the time. He wears like black and yellow Republic Commando armour. Yeah, that's Scorch. And he's in Delta Squad, which is like the most famous Republic Commando unit with Boss and Fixer and Sev and Scorch. And he is the only member we've seen so far. Well, no, they were in the Clone Wars, but for one scene and one episode. And then they brought Scorch back because his model was usable, and they have him basically being the head of the Imperial Commandos, which are those Republic Commandos, but they're like got grey stripes on them.
Yeah.
And there's loads of other Republic Commandos as well. Well, no, they're Imperial Commandos now, I guess. But they're in Republic Commando armour, so they're walking around Tantis all the time, with the new TK Trooper, but they're now called Stormtroopers. If you remember after season 2, Palpatine named them all Stormtroopers, so they're now Stormtroopers. They're no longer just TK Trooper designations. They're now Stormtroopers.
As we all know and love.
And we love them. Now we go to episode 2, Paths Unknown, and meet up with the Batch again. We've got Hunter and Wrecker. What are they off doing?
They are looking for the lab where they presume Omega is to be. and they find it, but it's gone. It's in ruins, completely desolated and destroyed. Before they then end up running into another 2 clones.
Yeah, 3 clones.
Well, yes, 2 initially.
2 initially. And there's another one.
And then they fight off a vine as well.
Off a vine, yeah, the evil vines, the evil Imperial vines that infested the planet. It's like a weird kind of Sarlacc tentacled situation.
Yeah, it was very Sarlacc pity.
Yeah, Sarlacc pity, especially with the mouth at the end.
Yeah.
Sarlacc pity, and very, lots of tentacles and wrapping around things, and oh, don't get dragged in. Wrecker's legs got caught. Oh no! Oh. He's crawling at the floor. It's like horror stuff, especially when at the end when they're in the base and he cuts off 2 of the vine whips, and then they start crawling on their own. I'm like, oh no, that is horror stuff. That's a unique idea though. When he cut it off and it keeps moving, the limb is like, it's like running towards you, like da 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 da, like that, and it's so scary. I gotta run away from that. Yeah.
It's like a headless chicken.
Exactly. The clones that they meet, voiced by Daniel Logan, who plays Jango Fett. Sorry, plays Boba Fett, the son of Jango Fett, who plays Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones. And it's great to hear Daniel Logan with D. Bradley Baker, who's the voice of all the clones in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch as well.
Yep.
I see them as well. Great voice cast as well. I was listening to an interview from Star Wars Celebration with D. Bradley and Michelle Ang, who voices Omega, and there's great. It's great chemistry as well to see D. Bradley Baker go from voice to voice. Often you think, oh, maybe he does one voice and then does the rest of them, but no, it feels like he does Family Guy.
Yeah.
With Seth MacFarlane go from voice to voice to voice, like Peter talking to Stewie, talking to Brian. You see, D. Bradley Baker goes from like Wrecker talking to Hunter, talking to the clones, talking to Crosshair, all of that, and he goes from voice to voice quite seamlessly, which is hard. I'm sure it's hard to do as a voice actor.
It's probably very hard to do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably harder than I think it is.
Yeah.
Just like, just make this voice, talk to this voice. Hello, Hunter. Hello, Wrecker. How you doing? Before long you're getting confused and you're calling Wrecker Hunter and Hunter Wrecker and all of that. It's probably much harder to keep track than I think it is.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where you sit there and you're like, oh, yeah, I see that, I can do that. Yeah, it's easy enough. And it's like, no.
I think voice acting's a hard talent, Corey. Voice acting's a hard talent.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, if our impressions are to go by.
If our impressions are any indication of how hard voice acting is,
it
is hard. Then we have episode 3, which is the Shadows of Tantis, where the Emperor arrives to Mount Tantis to make his inspection of Project Necromancer. Emery takes a sample of Omega's blood without Nala Se being there, because obviously Nala Se was the one destroying it.
Yep. And
the sample works just in time for Omega to escape on a shuttle with Crosshair with her, and the pursuit is called off because Project Necromancer has to be finished only with Omega's blood, they realise. And they need Omega alive for that to happen. So, unfortunately, Palpatine just left just as Omega escaped.
Yeah.
So Palpatine wasn't able to seriously reprimand Crosshair. Seriously reprimand Hemlock with some lightning.
Yes.
Before Omega escaped. So Palpatine's visit was short. He was just checking up on it. And, hello, I'm going to check up on Project Necromancer. How are you doing? Close to me. Yes, excellent. Bye bye. He gets in the shuttle and flies away.
Just leaves. Yep.
Yeah, leaves, off he goes. No, I love seeing Palpy. And they bring in Ian McDiarmid. What a class actor he is.
You love Palpy. Like you're on nice named basis there with him.
Yeah. Palpy. It's Palpy. It's all Palpy. It's just Sheev.
Good old Sheev.
Good old Sheev. I always say, good old Sheev. Good old Sheev. And Sheev's inclusion was actually, I'm going to continue to call him that.
Okay.
Sheev's inclusion was heavily featured in the trailers.
Right. Yes.
And everyone thought, oh yeah, Palpatine must be the big boss. We'll get him at the end of the season. Big lead up to him, But no, just an episode. He decides to rock up.
Yeah.
Just don't. That's my thought. Get him out of the way early. Just throw him in there. Say, hey, here's the biggest bad in all of Star Wars. Here's the arch villain of Star Wars. Immediately, episode 3. Here you go.
Yeah.
But what a premiere for the Bad Batch again on fighting form, and it's good to see that Star Wars is back again. Even whether it comes in animation or live action, it's just good to see it good to see it on the roundabout again, Corey. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it for a premiere. I thought it was really good. It gives you what you want. It was a nice, good recap.
What do you think of the animation quality?
I like it. I noticed it might look different, but I don't know if it did. I'm going to assume, because you're asking me what I like about what I think about the animation quality, but something has happened.
Well, no, I'm only asking you because I think, what do you think it's gotten better since the last season?
Potentially. I don't know, it looked different to me, but I don't know if it is.
Potentially, yes or no? Do you think it has, or...
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Obviously, yeah, so do I. That's my point.
I'll back it.
Yeah, so will I. Because my point is, if you look at Season 1 of The Clone Wars...
Yeah.
Like, if you have an internet source like I do, I'm just going to do a little Google here.
Go on then.
And just look up the first season of The Clone Wars. Because the animation from then to now is a drastic change. Like, look at that. Ahsoka looks like she's made of cardboard. It's such a drastic change, and you can watch it happen in the show. Like, even comparing it to season 7 of the Clone Wars, tremendous improvement in every way. And it's often with animated shows, maybe you'll see the opposite. Like, maybe it'll get worse, or they'll stop trying, or they'll run out of money, or whatever. But with Clone Wars, I'm so happy how it's been supported now. It got that 7th season. So it was able to really tighten up the animation. So it looks completely beautiful. Like, here's one shot with Bo-Katan Ahsoka is talking to Obi-Wan, Anakin, and R2-D2, and it looks like they may as well be real people.
Yeah.
If I squint a bit, I think, oh, that's Ian McGregor. Ian McGregor.
Ian McGregor.
Ian McGregor's brother.
Yes.
That's Ian McGregor. There he is, and I could see that as being Hayden Christensen. Easy. He's got the mullet. He's got the big Jedi mullet. Top man. Exactly. And, there's Bo-Katan might as well be Katie Sackhoff, because he is Katie Sackhoff, because he's in The Mandalorian as Katie Sackhoff, so that matters easily. But the animation improvement is fantastic, and it's refined in Bad Batch.
Yep.
It's more of like the lines, there's more of the, there's more of the shading. You can see it in action a bit more. Sounds crisp, amazing, Ben Burt, Matt Wood, tremendous work. Brad Rouse, the supervising director, does a great job, and it's all from Dave Filoni, who's just the master at his craft.
Yeah.
So let's pop a real rating for the first 3 episodes. I'll let you go first, Corey, since you're the Star Wars layman. I always like to say.
Yeah.
You're the guy who doesn't know much as I do, which isn't a flex, but I'm just saying. Corey, objectively, Corey, you know less.
I do, yes, so, correct.
You want to do your rating first?
I am kind of in between two. For me, this is either... Normally, I tend to give, openings a bit higher. Mm-hmm. So I'll be like, oh yeah, this is such a good opening, I'll give it an 8 and 8.5, and then the series will finish, and I'll be like, actually, I'm going to bump it down a bit.
Right, okay.
So I'm in between two minds. Initially, I want to give it about an 8. Because I'm like, I think that gives me enough wiggle room to either bump it up a bit, if at the end, maybe the season, doesn't carry on this quality, or potentially I could drop it to 7.5. So I'm going to go about an 8 for me, I think.
Okay.
It's a really good start, and it's good, nice recap, puts you back into it. Nice kind of just subtle whunk onto a new one.
Nice, I like that noise, Corey.
That's good noise.
It's good noise. Whunk. So, for me, I'm going to go, again, really, I love Bad Batch, you know me, I'm a Star Wars fiend. I love the Clone Wars. I think the Bad Batch is a great expansion. They did it as a spin-off series, but also like a continuation.
Yep.
It's kind of like a Clone Wars Season 8, but with hey, here's what the Bad Batch are doing, and there's, the transition to the early Empire, which is an era I love. V-Wings, Corey, you know about V-Wings?
Yes, you love your V-Wings.
I do love V-Wings. Imperial V-Wings, love them. Love my Rogue class transport shuttle. Love that. You look that up, Corey. Anyway, I think I'm going to go high as well.
Okay.
With potential to be I'm the opposite. I'm high with potential to be higher.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 7.5. But that is by no means to compare with anything else I've rated 7.5. But I'm to go 7.5, but it could go to a 9 or 9.5 at the end of the season. I think because this is also, bear in mind, Corey, and we've neglected to mention this. This is the last season of Bad Batch.
Correct.
This is the final season of the Bad Batch. So they've got to pull out all the stops.
Yes, it's got to be.
They've got to come up with something big,
got
bombastic.
To be a heavy hitting.
It's got to be heavy hitting, heavy handed, high impact. They've got to come in and just say, "Oh, you want a big finale? Boom! Here's your big finale. Here's dessert as well." That's what we're going to be hoping for with this roundabout story here with the Bad Batch. So it's the last season, so they've got to come up with something exciting. They've got to come up with something that's show-stopping, and I think they can do that. So I'm going to give it 7.5 now.
Yeah.
But with our final review, it may get
bumped back up again.
Yeah, it will get bumped back up again.
Yes.
Now, before we chat a little bit more, and also give our weekly rec, I'd like to talk to you a bit, Corey.
Okay.
About the Clone Wars, about Star Wars for a bit.
Okay, go for it.
If you'll permit me.
Sure.
Now we've been watching Bad Batch. You've seen the first season. You've seen the second season.
Yep.
You've seen bits of Clone Wars.
Yep.
You might be thinking, Corey, where do they go after this?
Where do they go after this?
So I'm going to ask you, Corey, what would you want to see from animated Star Wars?
I want to see. See, my answer's always been I want to see pre-Phantom Menace, but we're kind of getting that with the show we're making, but that's like very far back.
What the High Republic show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I give me like a few years pre-Phantom Menace, where it's like close enough where it ties in, but it's not like years and years and years and years away. It's like where everything all began.
Yeah,
so that's what I want. Give me some pre-Phantom Menace. Give me animated Jar Jar Binks.
I like that. Well, there is animated Jar Jar's in Clone Wars.
It is. Give me more modern day animated Jar Jar Binks.
I think you've got a good idea there, Corey. And there's been talk of something like that with the Acolyte, which is set before again, and that's their sort of High Republic type thing. And but that's like hundreds of years before the Phantom Menace, as you said. Hundreds of years before the Phantom Menace, the whole era. So for pre-Phantom Menace, I'd say there's a novel by James Luceno called Darth Plagueis, which is about Darth Plagueis the Wise, obviously.
Oh, I've heard about him.
It's about him. Yeah. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No, maybe I should read that book.
No, of course not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
Yeah, I should read that book.
It was a Sith legend, Corey. Darth Plagueis was a Dark Lord of the Sith. He was so powerful and so wise that he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying, right?
Yeah.
And he used the midichlorians to create life and all that kind of thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. There's a whole thing about that. But anyway, it's a good novel. It's a good book, right? I've read it. It's a good book, and that is as pre-Phantom Menace as you can get, to the point where it happens during parts of it. It happens during the film.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a week prior to the Phantom Menace, right? And that's very close. And I feel like that could be adapted. It might be a bit hard to do. Maybe animation would be the best thing for it, because there's a young Palpatine, there's a there's a young Maul. Plagueis is very heavily featured. Chancellor Valorum and all that is all featured. It's almost like a political novel in a way, because like the moves on how the Trade Federation had to blockade Naboo so the Jedi could be sent in to stop it, and the events during the film is like, oh, Plagueis was just off screen during this scene and that kind of thing. It's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And Plagueis was in the Senate but you didn't see him. That kind of stuff. That kind of thing. Well, I love Star Wars for that. Star Wars is great for that. Star Wars is, here's this character. He's got a full name and backstory. He's this guy in the background. We do whole episodes on this.
Yeah, we do.
I know. To the point where, Therm Scissor Punch and Kit Kadak are there. And exactly, right?
Bidlo Quirv.
Bidlo Quirv, Corey. Even down to poor Bidlo Quirv. And, all the crazy ones. And that Weosley, is that her name?
I can't remember
with the weird
what it
eyes
is.
and the legs. Weosley, that's the one. I can never think of. Hold on. I was thinking about him today, actually. Davin Felth. I was doing some writing, and I thought about Davin Felth, the Sandtrooper guy who says, "Looks to a droid," who pops up from out of nowhere. I thought about him.
Cool.
He's another weird style. Yeah, but all the minor characters, right?
Yeah.
And Darth Plagueis is effectively a minor character.
Yes.
Because Palpatine just talks about him in one scene in Revenge of the Sith. But it's arguably the reason why Anakin turns to the dark side, because he believes that he can have the power to save Padme from death.
Yep.
So Darth Plagueis is effectively a minor character, and this novel expands his entire lineage from what his real name is to what he worked, what he did, who he was, and Plagueis is in canon. This was a legend novel, mind you.
Right.
But Plagueis is in canon. I think he's still a Moon, I believe so, and he's still Palpatine's master, even though Palpatine was effectively telling Anakin a story from like a month, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right, basically is what he's saying. Because in the novel, Plagueis lives to ride around like Attack of the Clones type time. And when Palpatine is elected Supreme Chancellor, Palpatine basically realises, I don't need you anymore because I've got all the power. And because there can only be 2 Sith, Corey.
You can.
A master and an apprentice.
Yep.
And, the apprentice will succeed the master and then become the master and then get an apprentice, and the cycle will continue. Because Darth Bane, he invented the inventor of the Rule of Two. How about this? This will be interesting, Corey. Why do you think Darth Bane created the Rule of Two?
Annoyingly, I did know this.
Oh, okay.
At one point, because wasn't the whole thing where he had you'd have 2 apprentices and then you'd train both of them and then they would end up fighting each other essentially, and whoever won would end up being right, you're alive now. Because wasn't there a bloody what's the god, who was it that had the Mon Calamari Sith?
The Mon Calamari Sith?
Yeah. That
sounds awesome.
I believe that's a thing.
Oh, is that a thing?
I think it's a thing.
Oh, if you know this. You're opening your Google here, Corey.
I am, which is not common for you to do when it comes to this.
No, not common for me to do. The Mon Calamari Sith.
I think it's a thing.
Oh, I hope it's a thing.
I hope it's a thing. I love the Mon Calamari, they're great.
Yeah, I love Mon Calamari too. Admiral Akbar. I've got his Black Series figure. You think there's a Mon Calamari Sith?
I'm judging by
no, he's a. Right, I think you're half right.
Okay. There's
a Quarren Sith.
Right.
Quarren is a squid person.
Right. Okay.
But he's not. He's from ABY. He's in Darth Krait's empire.
Right.
So that's 138 ABY. So that's after the Battle of Yavin. And he's a Quarren Sith. You talk about Darth Azard.
Okay, yeah, obviously.
So, obviously Darth Azard, my favourite Sith character.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously, yeah, look at it, he's like a big red squid. Look at him. I think, let me tell you that the Rule of Two was effective because of a massive Sith civil war.
Okay.
Where all the Sith killed each other.
Great.
They wanted power, as Sith all do.
Yeah.
So there's a massive Sith civil war which destroyed the planet Malachor, or Korriban as it's called in the Legends continuity. And Darth Bane was the survivor, so Darth Bane thought, right, I'm only going to train one person. So that way, the Sith, can't destroy each other and, wipe out the entire Sith Order by getting into a massive civil war and all wanting power at the same time.
That's logic,
so only one person's going to want power, the apprentice, and then they'll become the master, and then they'll train, and the cycle will go on. So, but then there's weird aberrations where again with Palpatine, Plagueis was Palpatine's master, and Palpatine had Maul, who was an apprentice, who was an assassin. What they call it. You're allowed a Sith assassin.
Yeah.
And they will become an apprentice eventually, like Sarge Ventress, you'll know from the Clone Wars.
Yep.
Who was Dooku's Sith assassin, and then became his apprentice. Well, no, and then Palpatine made Dooku try to kill Ventress, and then Ventress survived. But strangely enough, Ventress in the Bad Batch trailer.
Yeah.
So I've wheeled it back. If you've watched the Bad Batch trailer, which I imagine you have.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Ventress is in the end. So hopefully she's she's dead in canon. She dies.
Yeah.
She dies at the end of a book called Dark Disciple, which I imagine you know, and we don't know how she's going to come back. People are thinking it might be a clone because of the M count, Midi-chlorian count in the clone blood. People thought Hemlock might have a crazy idea we can't put it in Palpatine's body, let's put it in someone else's body, like Asajj Ventress.
Could be.
Which is, even though when Asajj Ventress died, it said that because she's the Night Sister, the sort of green Night Sister energy kind of moved away, which was people's interpretation of being, she's dead and her spirit's gone on.
Yeah.
But we don't know how. Maybe her body just moved or something like that. We don't know, because when Mother Talzin supposedly died. She didn't. A green mist just floated away and she reformed somewhere else. So we don't know whether that's going to be the truth or not. But let's round out with a nice weekly rec.
Correct.
Is it me or you this week?
It's you this week.
It's me, and I've got something ready.
Good.
I've got... Okay, Corey, do you like Dave Filoni?
I do like Dave Filoni, actually.
Do you know what Dave Filoni worked on before he worked on Clone Wars?
I don't, actually.
He was an animator. He was an animation director.
Makes sense.
He previously worked for Nickelodeon on a little series you might have heard of called Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay, yeah. Is this anything to do with the recent...
No, it is and it's not.
Okay.
I've picked one of my favourite episodes from Avatar: The Last Airbender,
okay.
The cartoon,
yes.
Right, the animation, and I imagine we're going to end up reviewing the Netflix series
live
at some
yeah.
point. Yeah, I'm watching it in the minute. I'm watching through it at the minute. I'm halfway through. I'm on episode 4, so I'm probably going to get through it soon. But this is one of my favourite episodes from the animated series. It's called The Chase. It's the 8th episode of Book 2. And it's the 28th overall episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it's one of my favourite episodes. It's basically where Azula, who is the daughter of the Fire Lord Ozai, and her sort of cohorts, Ty Lee and May, are chasing down Aang and the gang throughout... Rhymes? Chasing down Aang and the gang, which is Katara, Zuko, and Toph, through and Sokka as well. I think Sokka's also there, which is the story of Sokka's life, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sokka is also there, because he can't do any bending, that's his problem. Exactly, he's the comic relief character, so he's like, and he was there, and Jar Jar was also there. But Sokka's also there, and they're just being chased. It's called The Chase. They're being chased the whole time. They're trying to get a decent night's sleep, and they can't, because Azula and her death train and her lizards are all chasing them down, so they have to fly everywhere on Appa, and even Appa can't. Appa starts falling asleep in the air. You know, he's so tired, and they have to try and... There's a massive fight at the end where Iroh helps them out, and all the heroes stand together against Azula, and there's a big standoff at the end, and at the end everyone, has to go to sleep, and that's great. An episode where everyone can go to sleep at the end and be calm, And Iroh gets a great scene with Toph, and Azula is always a fantastic villain, probably my favourite of the Last Airbender villains, even though Fire Lord Ozai is great, and so is Zuko in the early seasons. But I think Azula's my favourite, just because of, she's incredibly driven, incredibly motivated. Yeah, she's a bit of a psychopath, but I think she gives great action and great character moments where she's so single-minded that it becomes she can't see things are outside, like Zuko turning on her and whatever, and all these different things. So I think that's very interesting. So that is my weekly rec. It is the Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, The Chase.
Very nice.
And I'm going to give not connected to the famous ITV series
The
Chase. You're not being chased by Sean Wallace on a giant lizard.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because that'd be
very good,
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The Dark Destroyer's coming after it. Or Mark Lebet isn't. Yeah. Would he be he would be a firebender, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a firebender. Yeah, he's like Iroh a bit. I think he's a bit like Uncle Iroh, isn't he? Then you have got Anne Hegarty. She's got to be an earthbender, which isn't a comment about her weight, but I'm just saying that she would be an earthbender because she's rock solid.
Yes.
Good. As strong as a rock.
Good.
Right. Yeah. What do you think Bradley Walsh would be?
Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got an idea, but I don't want to say if you've got a different idea to me.
I'm gonna put him as water.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he's got to be a waterbender. That's right. He's got to be a waterbender. I
don't know why.
No, exactly. I don't know why either. But I feel like he fits as a waterbender.
Yeah.
He's a waterbender. Who else is there? We could do Jenny's got to be another firebender as well. I think. What would do you know Dara?
Dara O'Brien.
Dara
Menace Ennis.
Dara O'Brien. Dara O'Brien is there as well. Dara O'Brien. I think he'd be another waterbender, Dara O'Brien, for some reason. What about Dara Ennis? What's Menace Ennis?
Menace Ennis.
Yeah.
We've not had air yet.
No, with his hair, he could be an airbender.
He could be. He's got long hair.
Could be an airbender. I thought he could either be an air or an earthbender.
Yes, he does seem
natural
connected.
force
Yeah, he does.
to me. So he's got to be an air or an earthbender, you know. But for the chase episode of Avatar: Last Airbender, I'm going to give it a very strong 8.5.
Nice.
And yeah, go back, watch it. You know, the full cartoon is on Netflix anyway, as well as the adaptation.
Yep.
So you can go and watch it. I've seen it. You know, I've watched it twice. I watched it once when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, on Cartoon Network and whatever, and Nickelodeon, and then when it came to Netflix, I just watched all series again. I thought, oh, it's an amazing, awesome cartoon. I'll watch the whole thing again. And we will probably end up reviewing the live-action remake at some point.
More than likely.
Yeah, more than likely. I'd like to do that because I've got some thoughts on it. Yes.
Got some thoughts.
Yeah, some thoughts, Corey. It's nice to have thoughts.
It's good to have thoughts.
You've been thinking, remember the Peep Show quote, you've been thinking thoughts all your life. Look where that got you. Look where that got you, thinking thoughts. But yeah, that is my weekly rec, The Chase, and I think I'm very happy to watch the rest of Bad Batch as well. Every Wednesday's a party, Corey.
Every Wednesday.
A party because Bad Batch is coming out on the Wednesdays. We've just had the 4th episode this week. And where do you think? Let's make a little prediction, shall we?
Okay.
Where do we think the story's going to go for the the episodes of the season that we have left? Probably about 10 or so, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many episodes actually in the season?
I don't actually know that.
Okay.
I will check while you're predicting. Okay. I will check.
Well, I'm going to assume we're going to see Operation Necromancer is going to probably work at this point. Hemlock will probably get some kind of comeuppance in good old Star Wars style. How it will go, I don't know.
15 episodes, Corey.
15, okay.
15 episodes.
So we're right at the start currently.
Yeah, we're at the start. We're only 4 episodes in, so we've got a ways to go.
Yeah. I reckon we might get another. Obviously, in the second season, I always get them confused. It's Tech or Echo that died. Which one was it?
Tech did die.
Yeah, I reckon
Echo was still with the squad. Echo
we might get another one.
Someone
else might go.
I think it might be Wrecker. I'm sorry to make a
Possibly.
prediction, but if anyone, Wrecker, because Wrecker's the closest to Omega.
Correct.
Wrecker's like the heart of the squad. If they're going to hit us with a gut punch,
yeah,
it's going to have to be Wrecker. Wrecker is like the big, lovable teddy bear, but brave in a fight.
How they go though, because I'm thinking it's either going to be him, or it could be Crosshair. So when he has like his little redemption arc,
sacrifice,
turned evil and has come back again. Yeah. Or it could be all of them. Do a Rogue One.
Oh no, not a Rogue One.
Do all
not
of them.
A Rogue One coin. That's my worst way to do it. Not a Rogue One.
Everyone goes. Echo's on her own. So Omega's on her own.
Omega's on her own. Well, Echo was away. Echo was away with Rex in the Clone Rebellion. But we see him come back for this season as well. We see him return. I can't believe we've not talked about Echo this whole time.
No, we haven't.
No, he's got like that arm that does the plug-in thing. You know, he basically does Tech's job. I don't know what Echo's job is.
It's fine because Tech's gone now.
Well, I always say that Echo is hardware and Tech is software.
Yep.
You know, Tech is like buttons and press what this button do, and Echo is like got to get into the computer mainframe and plug in and tell the droids to whatever. That was always their jobs, I thought. And yeah, but we get Echo back. We see him in the trailer, so Echo returns. I'm curious on how the Ventress stuff will play out.
Yep.
Considering she's in the trailer, there's a cool action scene with like a turbo tank. Have you saw that in the trailer?
Nice,
They're driving that big turbo tank. I'd like to see that. There was a slight spoiler that we knew Crosshair was coming back because there was shots that you can see his rifle in that have clearly been cropped. If you notice that, there's shots in the trailer where you see Hunter standing next to Wrecker, and there's like a third person, but you can't see who they are. It's like, well, that's clearly Crosshair because it's his shoulder pad and it's his gun, so it must be him. Which is a slight of a bigger spoiler than
just a little one.
Just a little one, yeah. Well, no, it's all resolved now because we know he's back with the squad, right?
Yes.
But spoilers, at the end of episode 4, we see there was some tension between after the reunion.
I mean, it's bound to be.
So, bound to be, yeah, because Crosshair was basically an Imperial and killed loads of people for the Empire.
Yep.
So there must be some kind of tension. A few predictions. I think Hemlock's got a bite here. Hemlock's got to go. I think Nala Se might go as well in some
Possibly.
way. Not sure how. I think Emery might survive. Who else are we going to get? obviously Ventress is coming back because clones or whatever, however she does.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that. I don't think maybe Palpatine will have one more thing to do, because you don't get Ian McDiarmid and have him record for one episode.
And that's it, yeah.
You get him to do more. So obviously he must have done something else, and I think maybe Tarkin. I'd like Tarkin to come back just because I'm a Tarkin fan.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like Tarkin to show up in some form. Maybe more Republic Commandos. I don't know. What's the rest of Delta Squad doing? I'm not sure. That'd be nice. Maybe that's too fanfiction-y to say. Oh,
yeah.
And then Delta Squad swoops in and saves the day. But no, I'd like to see, because what happened with the appeal of Scorches? Oh well, what happened to him? How did they go from being the Delta Squad's most humorous member to like just a run-of-the-mill like Death Trooper clone, effectively?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see maybe a couple, I don't know, Fixer or I don't know, Sev's dead, so we can't really see Sev, but Fixer or Boss or something like that, or like recoloured Imperial Commandos, because we see other clones in like purple and green and stuff, but they seem like very rebel clones to me, not like Imperial clones.
Yeah.
Because the whole meaning of the clones thing was to strip them of their colour so they didn't have any individuality. So, especially during the start of the Imperial era, along with all the commandos and stuff like that. And eventually replacing them with humans altogether. But that is our review of the first 3 episodes of Season 3 of The Bad Batch. A lot to say there. First 3 episodes of Season 3 of The Bad Batch. And we hope you enjoyed very much. We'll come at you with a full review of the season, very much like that, Corey. What do you think?
It's good. It'll probably be what? If there's 10 episodes, it's about what? 2?
Yeah.
Like 2 months?
2 months, yeah. A few months, I'd say. And still, I'd be happy to review it. Love Star Wars, love Bad Batch, always. And may the Force be with you. And we'll talk to you later. Yeah. More reviews coming up. It's a goodbye from me. Goodbye. And a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.